Happy Thanksgiving and welcome to Week 12 Boom Bust Fantasy Football Show brought to you by Fantasy Football Advice Network and Sellout Crowd. I'm Corey and I'm joined by my brother Kyle. We're going to break down some booms and busts at each position for your Turkey Week fantasy football matchup. Now, what is a boom and what is a bust? It's whether the player exceeds or falls short of their projected point total for the week based off of Fantasy Pros full PPR projections. All right, Kyle, let's break it down for him and get him that turkey leg this week. What do you say?
Yeah, man, Turkey Week. Forget Turkey Day. It's Turkey Week. When it comes to Thanksgiving Day, it's all boom and no bust, baby.
That's right. That's exactly right.
But let's start off with our boom QB of the week, Mr. Josh Dobbs, playing against Chicago on Monday night at home. Projected 22 of 35, 237 yards, 1.6 touchdowns, which rounds up to 2. But, it's a great matchup. I think he gets closer to I think he gets 3 touchdowns. He's like the first couple starts he had 3. The last couple he had 2 apiece. I think he gets back to that 3 with this matchup. Should also be getting Justin Jefferson back, which to me is a huge plus. And Monday night under the lights, JJ back against the rival Bears. I'm loving Josh Dobbs this week.
Josh Dobbs has been very impressive this year. I mean, there's a reason why the Vikings went out and got him. And they thought they could compete well enough with him to still make that playoff push. Even if Justin Jefferson isn't back this week, I still like Dobbs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have enough weapons out there without JJ that they're still producing, right? And Like you said, Chicago, Monday night, rivalry, it's going to be beautiful. And Chicago does not have a great defense. So I think this is going to be a time for Josh Dobbs to come out and show what he can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. They went out and got Josh Dobbs. He was impressive in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's with the Vikes. And I think he's made Kirk Cousins expendable this offseason now. He's playing that well. So, yeah, it's been a good move. Good move for Josh Dobbs to Minnesota.
Kyle, I just got one question for you.
What's that?
You like that?
You like that.
All right, here we go. Who's your bust?
All right, the bust QB of the week. A lot of people aren't going to like me for this. Justin Herbert. But he's playing Baltimore. Baltimore's been a very, very tough matchup for QBs this year. They're actually number 1 against fantasy QBs this year. He's projected 24 of 37, 260 yards, touchdown and a half, 18.8 points. He has struggled against better defenses. Had 136 yards, no touchdowns against the Jets, Week 9. Struggled against Dallas. Struggled against Kansas City. If he gets a touchdown, I'll be very surprised this week. Baltimore's playing that good against quarterbacks.
Yeah, but they're not stopping the run quite as much. I mean, if Justin Herbert gets a passing touchdown this week, it's probably to Austin Eckler. It's probably a dump off.
Probably, yeah.
But you're right. Every time he plays a pretty good defense, Justin Herbert does not have a day. I have him as my starter in one league, and I'm actually benching him this week. I already have him on the bench playing Justin Fields over him. So if that tells you anything. So I agree. I think Justin Herbert's going to struggle this week, just like every other week that he plays a solid defense. And Baltimore is a super solid defense.
Very solid, yes.
Yep. All right, let's move on to running backs. Who's your boom running back for the week?
Mr. Isiah Pacheco for the Chiefs. He's been struggling. He's had a couple of tough matchups. Has a really good matchup at Las Vegas this week. The workload is still there. He's getting a ton of carries. He just went 19 carries for 89 yards against Philly, who is a very, very good rushing defense. Las Vegas is nowhere near that good. He is projected 16 carries for 66 yards, half a touchdown. I think he gets in the end zone this week. I think he gets closer to 100 yards or more. 13.3 points. I think he can beat that.
Yeah, I think that's a low projection. Pacheco runs like a damn madman. That's why he did so well against Philly. And if he, like you said, if he did that good against Philadelphia, I think he's going to be fine against Las Vegas. Las Vegas does not have the type of defense to stop that. and that stop that offense in general, right? Like when you're looking at how he performed against Miami, well, they were having to just play to keep up. That the game had them passing a lot, right?
Yeah.
Whereas they might be nursing a lead against Las Vegas for quite a bit. Pacheco's probably going to get quite a bit of work.
Yeah.
And so just the game flow in general should get Pacheco enough work. And then with his running style, I like him gaining some good yards and, like you said, getting in the end zone this week.
Yeah, my man's runs violent.
Violent, man. It's like someone fed him after midnight and he became a gremlin or something. He's just
exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Crazy. All right, who's your bust running back this week?
It hurts me to say it, but Joe Mixon versus Pittsburgh.
Don't tune out yet, guys. Don't tune out.
I love me some Joe Mixon, but with Jake Browning now playing QB, I think their passing game's going to struggle, at least in the beginning, if nothing else. But Pittsburgh is already a tough rushing matchup. And if they're keying on the rush because of who's playing QB, that makes it even harder for him. He's projected 18 carries, 74 yards, half a touchdown, 15.4 points. I think he ends up closer somewhere to maybe 10, just based off he'll get a handful of catches too. I don't think he scores against Pitt. So I think he's going to struggle on the ground a bit this week. He will have easier matchups in the future, but this is not one where I'm excited to have him in there.
Yeah, I think excited is the right word. I'm not excited to see him against Pitt this week with Browning at quarterback. In fact, it makes me a little nervous. It makes me nervous that on those passing downs that he'll have to stay in and protect Browning to give him a little bit more time too. So he might, like you said, he might get some dump off passes. They might set up some screens for him. Not sure, but with that passing game, probably not going to be as efficient. They're probably going to key in on Joe Mixon more than usual. Usually they have to sit back and respect all those wide receivers with Burrow in, but they don't have to do that quite as much now. So I think Mixon gets a little bit too much attention from that Pittsburgh defense this week, and that makes me really nervous for him.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So I want to take a minute real quick to invite you over to fantasyfootballadvice.com and get signed up for the one and only social media network 100% dedicated to fantasy football. Get advice, give advice, watch videos, read articles, listen to podcasts, all kinds of good stuff over there. Come hang out with us, join the community, and support other content creators. That's fantasyfootballadvice.com. Alrighty, Kyle, let's move on over to some wide receivers. And first up is your wide receiver, boom,
Mr. Michael Pittman Jr. playing against Tampa Bay. I think this matchup has potential to be high scoring. I know these aren't two offenses that you tend to associate with a high scoring shootout type of game, but I think they match up very well for that this week. He's projected 6 catches, 69 yards, half a touchdown, 15 points. I think he definitely gets in the end zone. I think he gets a 100-yard game. I think he beats that 15-point projection pretty easily. People are throwing on Tampa Bay lately. Their secondary is struggling.
They have a secondary?
And I think Minshew and Pittman can take advantage of that.
Yeah, that defense has allowed so much passing. It's ridiculous. Poor Baker does everything he needs to do, and that defense isn't holding up their end of the deal. You would think Alex Grinch was their defensive coordinator all over again.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's just it makes me think that Minshew is going to tear them up, and Minshew and Pittman have been doing really well together. And so I agree with this. I think this is a great opportunity for Pittman to just have a blow-up weekend.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, he's already been super consistent.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for a spike week, and I think this could be it.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, he's only had one game this year where he didn't score double-digit points, which is more than most players can say.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's funny because he was going late in drafts because people weren't trusting it with Anthony Richardson, right? But even with Richardson in at quarterback, he was producing. So, and then Minshew comes in, who's a better pure passer and not taking runs, and pulling the ball down and run with it so much. So, Pittman's been solid all year, and I don't think that changes at all this week. In fact, I think it's one of his higher producing games.
And I was one of those guys that was avoiding Pittman coming into the season. I'm thinking Downs, Alec Pierce, Jelani Woods, who ended up not being healthy yet this year. And here's Pittman being consistent week in and week out. And he's playing really, really well. And now that Jonathan Taylor is back also.
Yeah, you beat me to it. That's exactly what I was about to say.
He's getting more and more going. Like, he's back now. Like, he's full back now.
Yep.
That's only going to help.
Yeah, they have to respect that run so much with Jonathan Taylor that it's only going to open it on the back end for Michael Pittman. God, you beat me to it, but brother brainwaves, man, those brother brainwaves.
Yeah, I'm telling you, we might be twins after all.
Whew, scary thought. All right, let's go on to your bust wide receiver. Who you got?
Yeah, Jamar Chase versus Pitt. I know, I got two bust Bengals. Trying to drive home the point that Pittsburgh defense is going to win them this game, and Jake Browning is no Joe Burrow. Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase, but Jake Browning is going to struggle this week. TJ Watt is going to be in his face all day long. He's going to have a hard time getting that ball out. So Jamar is projected 6 catches for 71 yards, half a touchdown, 15.1 points. I don't think he gets to double digits. If I got other options with good matchups, I would actually bench Chase for them this week.
Unfortunately, yes. I mean, I think we just saw what happens without Burrow when they play a good defense. Yeah. Right? I mean, they played Baltimore, good defense. He didn't even break 10 fantasy points, full PPR. Salvaged it with a 2-yard touchdown reception. I mean, he only had 12 total yards. So if it wasn't for that touchdown, I mean, total flop. So he got bailed out at the end. I don't think it gets any better against Pittsburgh this week. No. I'm not trusting Chase in that situation.
The thing is, Chase is still a stud, but now he becomes a matchup play instead of a set it and forget it player.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that quarterback's just going to have too much pressure. Browning's going to have too much pressure on him, and I don't see the typical games you're used to having Chase, with these big catches down the field, getting you a 60-yard touchdown. You're just not going to have that right now. True. You're not getting that. With Browning, you're going to hurt for it, but with Browning and Pitt, nah, that's a bad combo.
It is. And I'm excited if I have Pittsburgh defense on my roster this week.
For sure. All righty. Let's go on to your tight end boom.
Yeah, my tight end boom, Mr. Isaiah Likely. And he's going to be probably a pretty popular waiver ad tonight.
Pretty likely.
It's pretty likely he's going to be a big-time waiver claim this week. It's not a very tough matchup. It's not like top 5 or anything against the Chargers, but it's not a horrible matchup. This offense uses that tight end position. And we've seen in the past when Andrews missed time, Likely can step in and produce. He's not as consistent as Andrews at producing when he's in because he's not maybe as good. But he has talent. He can do it. And I think this week is one of those weeks that he can. He's projected 3 catches for 32 yards, 7.4 points. I think he can get to 10 points, 10, 12 points. I think he could catch a touchdown against the Chargers because they're going to have to score to kind of keep hope. Well, if the Chargers can put points on the board against Baltimore, Baltimore's going to have to score points too. And either way, I think he's such a large target. He is a tall target. I think they get him in the end zone this week.
Well, and not that I know a coach's game plan, right, or how they're feeling with people, but when you got most likely have to come in and cover for the rest of the season, if Mark Andrews is going to be out the rest of the season, you got to get this guy going. He hasn't had that many reps. He hasn't been in the groove. You need to get him in the groove now. You need to get him in that offense. You need to get him and Lamar Jackson working together, grooving together. I'm feeding Isaiah Likely the ball as much as I can, honestly.
Well, that's the thing. Like, when it's a one-off game, like week 1, he's not prepared. You didn't know it was coming. You're not too worried about feeding him the rock. Now, Mark Andrews out for the year. They got to get through the rest of the season. In the playoffs, you're right. They're going to have to get this kid going so that he can keep that offense moving.
You said it, the playoffs. This team is doing well. I mean, they'll be in the playoffs, so they can't just be like, we lost Andrews. We're okay. They got to get Likely going because they need him and they need that weapon. So I think you're right. I think this week they try to get him in there and get him at score at least.
Yeah.
All righty. Who's your bust tight end?
Bust tight end, Pat Freiermuth. He didn't do great last week. It's only his second week back from his injury. Playing Cincinnati, it's not a horrible matchup. He's projected 3 catches for 28 yards, 6.8 points. But they just fired Matt Canada. They're going to have a new offensive coordinator. Who knows what's going on? Whoever the offensive coordinator is still limited by Pickett being the QB anyways. But it could be kind of a hot mess while they figure out the new offensive coordinator, the new system, all this stuff. So I'm holding off on starting Pat Freiermuth one more week.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this one. I don't know if the firing of Canada helps him, hurts him, or makes no difference. And being a safe player like I am, a safe fantasy player, I'm not trusting Freiermuth. I think it could be kind of a jumbled mess. Or they could rally and just come out swinging and firing and do fantastic things. We don't know, but that's a gamble. I mean, that's a huge gamble. So I don't think I'm trusting it. If anything, I think they might focus a little bit more on getting their other weapons going that they need to get going.
Yeah.
Pat Freiermuth tries to work his way in. If they believe in Najee, they need to get Najee going. If they need to get Pickens going, like a lot, they need to get Deontay Johnson going, like a lot. So even if they do get Freiermuth involved, it's not going to be enough for a great performance, probably.
Yeah, and I think long-term, moving on from Matt Canada is going to be a positive.
Yes.
But as far as this week and maybe even next week, like, we just don't know what's going to happen. So, yeah, let's use somebody else for now and then hope that he comes around in time for fantasy playoffs for you.
Yep, agreed. All righty, that does it for all our booms and our busts. But now let's throw a couple streamers out there. You always like to put a streaming kicker and defense out there. So let's start with your streaming kicker. Who is your streamer kicker of the week?
Mr. Greg Joseph for the Vikes. Playing against Chicago on Monday night. I think the Vikes put up a lot of points in this rivalry game under the lights. And he's been a lot better since Dobbs got there, too. He's shown massive improvement. He's been scoring more points, and I think he continues that streak here. And he's still available in a ton of leagues. So snag him up, man.
Yeah, and I know you said under the lights, but I just want to clarify that they're playing in Minnesota, so they aren't playing outdoors in Chicago. They will be playing indoors in Minnesota.
There are lights in the dome, Corey.
No, I agree. I'm just letting people know that he is playing indoors against Chicago. So if you're thinking like, ooh, Windy City at night in late November, I don't know about that. Don't let it bother you. They're in the dome this week. So that really plays to Mr. Greg Joseph's advantage.
Absolutely it does. Yeah, under the lights just means they're playing at night.
I knew it.
But no, I know you know, but I'm just saying, playing in a dome is a big plus.
Absolutely. Alrighty, give us your defensive streamer of the week.
Oh, I might get roasted for this one, but they've been playing really, really well lately. Give me the Denver Broncos defense this week. Playing against Cleveland and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He's young, he's inexperienced. I think they get him some sacks, maybe a turnover or two. I like them. They've been playing really, really well lately. They've been against good teams: Minnesota, Buffalo, Kansas City. Like they're playing better. So give me them as a streamer this week against the Browns.
Who is this? Who is this Denver team that's just shown up?
I don't know.
But I tell you what, this defense has been playing so much better, and it has in turn helped their offense. So as a team now, they're just playing better, and so yeah, give me the Denver defense. What the heck?
I think what happened is I think we have like a Space Jam situation going on here. So they play against Kansas City.
Special juice.
Mahomes is sick, but they just stole his talent that night, right?
Got it.
Did the same thing against Josh Allen, right?
I see what you.
Like maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I can believe it. Well, unfortunately, they don't have any special talent to steal from a Cleveland quarterback this week.
Not the QB, no.
But yeah, I agree here. I think that QB situation in Cleveland is not pretty, and I think Denver's able to capitalize off of that quite a bit. And so I'm liking that too. In fact, I have a few waiver claims in for them this week because I want them to play on my teams this week. So I agree with you there. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up all our booms, busts, and streamers for the week. One last time, I want to invite you over to fantasyfootballadvice.com. It's the social media network 100% dedicated to fantasy football. Answer questions, get your questions answered, get your lineup set, trades, all that good stuff. You can read articles, watch videos, listen to podcasts, all that good stuff. Just hang out with us because we're a good time.
We're the best.
All right. With that being said, guys, have a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you stuff your guts and I hope you win your fantasy football matchups this week. Until next time, we'll see you.
Eat all the turkey.
Gobble, gobble.